Got to, man. Gotta bounce back. Shout out to my homie Keys, Xavier Keys, on the vocals on this. Okay. Honestly, they couldn't stop me if they wanted to. Gotta get up, go out and get it, and that's what I'm gonna do. I've been focused, I'm not hungry. Yo, I'm starving, dude. Grind mode with my team, we making these power moves. Honestly, they couldn't stop me if they wanted to. Gotta get up, go out and get it, and that's what I'm gonna do. I've been focused, I'm not hungry. Yo, I'm starving, dude. In grind mode with my team, we making these power moves. Cause I ain't got no time to be wasting with all this music I'm making. Man, I'm tired of being impatient, so I keep making these moves here with my crew. Vow to myself to always stay true, so I don't care what nobody else do. I know why. Like an erection, bumps in the road, but no, I ain't stressing. I don't work out, but homie, I'm flexing. Every time I get on the beat and I bless it. Rise and shine, and I never let another come and stop my grind. Cause I grind all night at the gig, no lie. Then it's back in the booth for some overtime. Come on. Nope. Shout out to Miss Alma Ramos. Shout out to Miss B. I said, hey. My mom told me to get them, so I don't care what y'all say. I just keep grinding. Yeah, I stay working, cause it's, you know, I said, that's right. In the lab with a pen and a pad, let's ride. Make it look so easy, don't it make y'all mad? One thing I know, one thing is certain. I can't stop, won't stop, cause me and my team stay working. One thing I know, one thing is certain. Can't stop, won't stop, on the grind, getting mine, I'm working. No sleep. Spit heat, killing these tracks, and I'm not gonna stop till I'm up on top where I'm supposed to be. Everywhere I go, I scream SP. We more than a crew, we a family. Working trying to get a couple Grammys, G, having sitting on top of the mantelpiece. Thank God. Go hard, they just mad cause I'm on my job. But where I'm from is to the ground to starve. Starving, I just can't do it. Not having it, unthinkable. So I turn in and stretch arms strong, and now I can reach the unreachable. Let's go. Hey, trying to. Yo, I said I can't sit still. I just laugh at y'all haters. Cause yeah, hey, mom's told me, so I don't. Let's go, I just keep. Yeah, I stay. Cause it's, you know, I said, that's right. In the lab with a pen and a pad, let's ride. Make it look so easy, don't it make you mad? One thing I know, one thing is certain. I can't stop, won't stop, cause me and my team stay working. One thing I know, one thing is certain. Can't stop, won't stop, on the grind, getting mine, I'm working. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't get what you want. Whatever you dreaming for, you get out there and you get it. You make it happen. Never mind the haters. Real spill. Cause all day, always, get them. Yes sir. I'm grinding. Stay working. Hey, I said that's right. In the lab with a pen and a pad, let's ride. Make it look so easy, don't it make you mad? One thing I know, one thing is certain. Can't stop, won't stop, cause me and my team stay working. One thing I know, one thing is certain. Can't stop, won't stop, on the grind, getting mine, I'm working. Gotta. Yes, sir. Love them.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora.
Good morning, Aurora.
The time is 8 a.m. and you are listening to and watching the last episode.
The
TBD,
final.
It's Jenettesplaining.
It's an end of an era, guys.
On Good Morning, Aurora, technologically first daily news. They couldn't even wait for
I know. You're all. Those are clap. I can feel both the excitement for the start of this show and the sadness for the end. The end of it. I like to think of it as a promotion. Now I'll just be like a special guest. Like you're gonna have to, like, get on my sketch.
Joints.
Call my peeps. You know,
Special
like your
joints.
people, call my people. We'll see.
I'm gonna write that down. Special joints.
Yes. Yeah.
Monica, give me a pen so I can write down special
Write
joints.
down special joints. It's not the word of the day yet.
Not yet.
We'll get there.
Ben Geller, good morning. Sally Bice, Anna Sierra, Jennifer, Ryan, Mayton, Ben Tennant, all of you. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
It's 8:01 a.m. It's Friday. It's nowhere near as cold as it has been, and I think that's a great start.
But it is
to the
snowy, and it is also like nobody expected it to be quite so snowy as it is out there this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is another one, like, last week, you know, when our streets didn't get plowed until like 10 in the morning, I was like, all y'all knew this was coming. Where's my plows?
Right.
Like my street was plowed in straight till 10.
Right.
But they didn't. I'll grant any city public works operations crews a little grace today, because I get all these weather notifications from all the folks who are in charge of watching these things, and they're like, we might get some lake effect. We might get an inch or two. Yeah. And then this morning they're like, oh crap, we got like 5 inches, we're working on it. So
I hope it does snow a lot. That would be nice. It's warm when it snows. It feels pretty good out there right now.
It's warm. You can go, like, I love a good run in the snow. Mm-hmm. It's tricky to not slip and fall on your patoot, because the Fox Valley Park District still doesn't plow the trails, which I feel like if we're coming for full circle, because we've been doing Jenettesplaining for about a year now, I feel like the very first like crusade that I had, where I was screaming into the mic on the first like couple episodes, is like, why don't you plow the trails?
Right.
You know, the Fox River. Like, people use that for transportation. So I've so far still lost that battle, but I have faith, guys. # plow the trails.
Right. Fox Valley Park District. Please plow.
I love you guys.
The trails.
We love you guys. Just Fox River Trail, right? Like that's like transportation, right? You don't gotta do the things that kind of like loop around in a park or whatever, where people just go for like funsies. But like Fox River Trail, I gotta get places.
Right. So we have news for you guys too, and there was got a really cool text last night that had a flyer in it. Hang on,
It wasn't just you up?
No, it was not. Let me see here.
Those are my favorite.
Okay, here it is, real quick. Got a shout out to Sherman Jenkins. The Quad County African American Chamber of Commerce presents their 13th annual Jazz Scholarship Awards brunch. Now, it's been rescheduled to Saturday, June 25th. It'll be from 11:30 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. It's going to be at City Gate Grill, which is in Naperville, in the Terrace Room. It's featuring Thaddeus Tukes, and there is a price $100 for members and $135 for non-members. For tickets, please call 630-859-9776. Sponsorship packages are available. So shouts out to our friends of the Quad County African American Chamber of Commerce.
That's right. For putting like City Girl's nice. I haven't eaten City Girl, but the other, like, some of the restaurants in that complex over there, those are
looks like some good stuff.
A little swank.
All right, so what's the first order of business?
Oh boy, I don't know. Let's talk about how about we're getting a new townhome development along the river. So building along the river is just exploding. It's like people realize we have this pretty river here, and what if we put things there?
This one's on the west side.
This one's on the west side.
Right.
So like you'll recall, well-informed listeners, that there's an apartment development going in on the east side of the river, by the township building there. So they're taking an empty parking lot and turning that into a thing. On the west side of the river, they're also going to take an empty parking lot and turn that into a thing. It's going to be a townhome development. And it is going to be developed by basically the same folks who own Pacifica Square.
Pacifica Square out there on 59.
Out there on 59, yeah. They're doing townhomes now, and I'm gonna pull up my right here. So, $53 million development. It'll be 140 rental units and 20 townhouses. So a combination of apartments and townhomes on 3.3 acres. And it's going on the west side, just south of the new pedestrian bridge that's going in there, which is like what has been sort of a long-term vision for downtown Aurora, and one of the reasons that they justified that pedestrian bridge and wanted to put it in the first place. It was sort of like an if you build it, they will come kind of thing. And the way the trend for a long time has been this thing called transit-oriented development, right? Where like you may not be able to live close to the major city, but if you live close to a train, like where you just walk to the train or whatever, maybe that's good enough, right? Or at least like maybe that's what you can afford, sort of thing. So you've seen a lot of those developments, like the Metro 59 townhomes and stuff over by the Route 59 train station. This is kind of that, but at the end of the line out here. So, so 140 rental units, 20 townhomes. You'll be able to walk across the bridge and hop on the train and get to the city. And again, it's Windfall Group is the developer. It's the same developer that did Pacifica Square, who got a shout out last week on our digging into money and how it flows around the city. But overall, like this has been a plan that's been in place even since going back to the Wisner administration. There was one year where he did a state of the city and kind of reimagined the riverfront. Was like, no, this is why we're putting in this park, right? Because we got the River Edge Park there. This is why we're putting in this bridge. The idea is to really open up development here, and so these things take a while, but it seems to be going. So that's good. My one question with this development, well, I got a couple. First of all, is what we don't know is whether transit-oriented housing is going to make sense in our new post-COVID era, right? Like we don't know if people are still going to be taking jobs in downtown and living out in Aurora and wanting to do that commute back and forth, or if we're going to see that massive shift that people have been kind of talking about where we all just work at home in our jams. My sense is that there will still be people taking those commutes and those big jobs, but it'll be more like 2-3 days a week rather than in every day. So that might make a development like this really make a lot of sense, because nobody wants to do that commute 5 days a week. But I'll definitely hop on the train 2 or 3 days a week. For sure. Yeah,
there'll still be entertainment. People will still go to baseball games and all that and go hang out. The auto show, go downtown. As soon as you get to Union Station, you come out on Adams Street. All kinds of good stuff. You can still get the weekend pass. The price is up now. It's like $10 for the weekend pass, and it's only Fridays and Saturdays.
Is it $10 for the weekend pass now?
Yeah.
Malarkey.
So you can still, there's still things to do in the city. People will still surely go, but I don't know. I think it'll be nice. It'll make us hip. It'll make us more competitive, I'm sure. It'll bring people to downtown. They spend their money here. That's a good thing, but I do think the world has changed where nobody's going to be trying to get a crib just because it's by the train to save money on like a vehicle or something like that, just to go downtown and sit in a cubicle. Like that's those days are over.
That's like an old model.
Right.
So yeah. The other thing that I
Cruz Ocho, good morning.
Good morning. The other piece of this like puzzle is kind of like you've seen like townhome and apartment developments are sort of notorious for creating really empty, like, dead spaces sometimes, like, from a neighborhood cultural sort of perspective, right? Like, think of those townhome neighborhoods that you've walked into and you've been like, do people actually live here? You just see cars, right? You never see, like, actual, like, people, activity, things like that. And when you're talking about a spot that's, like, right on, like, because it's like the sort of developments where you drive your car in and you go inside and you drive your car out, like, from your garage, and you, like, never really interact with people. And it takes a lot of intentionality to build developments that allow or almost force people to, like, get out of their bubble and go, like, talk to people and, like, be, like, kind of have communal spaces.
Right.
And along the river, it, like, I would hate to see a development that creates that sort of, like, culturally, socially dead zone. So I hope that a lot of thought goes into, like, how are we going to create places where people, where I, as a person who doesn't live in that neighborhood, still feels, like, super welcome to just go on a run down the trail there, right? Because there's some Fox River running trail there. And B, that the folks who are there are also sort of, like, pulled into participating in the wider Aurora thing.
Friend of the show, Judd. Good morning to you.
Good morning,
Where's
Judd?
the high-speed rail? Josue Pais, good morning. Alyssa Ocone, good morning. Maria Chirito, good morning. Deb Sturgis, good morning.
Hi,
and
Mom.
Norma Peterson. GAMS, the Great American Morning Show. That's word up. The time is now 8:11 a.m. Little bit of bad news. A little bit.
Just a little bit. Not that we've ever...
We don't do this much, but I told you on... What day was it? I told you Monday, and I told you Tuesday at Kane County. Well, Monday, there had been 992 total deaths from COVID-19, and Kane County was preparing to do a memorial event once more than 1,000 residents of the county had passed because of COVID-19. That will be taking place today. Several officials are expected to speak at the noon ceremony at the Kane County Courthouse, located at 100 South 3rd Street in Geneva. The event's open to the public, expected to last around 20 minutes. A wreath will also be laid. As of Thursday, just yesterday, Kane County has seen 117,562 total coronavirus cases, and 1,022 people have died because of COVID-19. Kane and DuPage counties combined saw a decrease in COVID-19 hospitalizations over the last week after peaking with 789 patients on January 18th. Now the region is down to 653 total patients with COVID-19. Kane County Board Chair Corinne Pirog, Kane County Health Department Interim Executive Director Kathy Fosser, Kane County Coroner Rob Russell, and Fox Valley Hands of Hope Executive Director Jonathan Shively are expected to speak at the event today. It'll be on the county's YouTube page, Kane County Government. Time is 8:13.
Yeah, so if you look at the charts right now of what's happening relative to COVID cases, we are finally starting to see a little bit of a decrease in our case counts. We're down by about, it's kind of like, it's like wavering, like we're up and then we're down. We're like, so like we're at the top of this huge peak, right? And then the cases started to come down and then it peaked again, right? But right back and forth. So what my sense, a year ago, I hopped on here to join you on this amazing adventure that we've gone on this past year. And at that time, we were just like, man, this thing just kind of keeps going. Yeah. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. It just keeps going. Like, wear your mask, wash your hands. And now I think that I think that this current spike is going to fall, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that we are all, like, health experts across the world are starting to shift their perspective into an endemic response, right? This is just it. This is just what we're doing now.
It is the new normal, and it has been.
And it's going to be, and it's not going away, right? Like, it's never going away.
It's not.
So how do we like shift our perspective on how to deal with this, right? Because constantly shutting down schools is not going to work over the long term. Constantly sending, like long quarantine periods are not going to work over the long term. Like, are we really going to wear masks everywhere we go over the long term? Are we going to really be testing people when they really want to come over to our house over the long term? Like, so now I think it's going to become this balancing act of like, okay, what changes are we willing to make over the long term, and what changes are going to feel like too much going forward?
I don't know what would feel like too much. What would be too much? Josue Pais, what would be too much? Judd, what would be too much? Does anybody know what would be too much? If you have an idea what would be too much or what you wouldn't put up for, what would make you turn into Twisted Sister? Let us know in the chat. I don't know what would be too much.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do pretty much anything to be safe and to make sure other people are safe.
I mean, I think that a lot of it is going to depend on context too, like where you're at when you're talking about what's too much. So like, one thing, people are done with the face masks in a lot of cases, and it's kind of like, well, the pandemic's not done, so you could be done, but that doesn't mean right. But I think you're going to start seeing shifts in like where and how they're adopted and all of that stuff would be my guess. Like, I think that in offices where people can keep their door closed and whatever, like, are people going to want to keep wearing those all day, every day? Probably not.
Right.
If you are on the CTA and there's some dude coughing across the street, like everyone, like in public transit sort of situations. So I think if we don't have, people are still going to want and expect them in those kinds of spaces. And I think that if we don't have good leadership from the top saying like, okay, yes, here, you must wear them here. Definitely you can take them off over here, right? If we don't have those then it's going to keep devolving into all these situations where people are just like fighting over, like picking fights in public over dumb stuff, and the poor folks at the front, the hostesses at the restaurant are bearing the brunt of this.
The time is 8:17 a.m. Good morning, everyone. I said hi to Maria Trito as well. I'm pretty sure I did. So the deal has been approved for affordable housing units into 2 vacant schools. Tide and Lincoln schools. Let's chop it.
Let's chop it. So, you'll remember there's been some, hold on.
City Council this week approved contributing $3.5 million of federal funds towards a project to remodel Todd and Lincoln School. Todd School, 100 Oak Avenue. Lincoln School, former Lincoln School actually, 641 South Lake Street. And then there was another building at 631 South Lake Street as well. And another article mentioned that they were going to take over. A total of 47 apartment units, as well as a community medical clinic operated by VNA. How about that? $2.9 million from the city's home investment partnerships allocation, and $600,000 from CDBG funds, community development block grant funds. The developer for the project is Visionary Ventures NFP Corporation of Oak Brook.
Yeah, so this is actually really cool. What's interesting about this to me is that it's repurposing. So when you look at the west side, right, you've had sort of a hollowing out. There's a decrease in the number of kids, right, coming through the district and things like that. So it makes sense that they're going to close these old schools anyway. What I love about this project is that it's actually affordable housing. Like, it's really for people. It's capped at the by median income. So some of these units, they'll be coming from the statewide referral network. Is for households that earn at or below 30% of the median income for the area. So you're talking homes like for families that are making like less than $30,000 a year.
It says 18 to 63,000.
Yeah, so some and the rents on these things are going to range from $423 a month to $1,284 a month, right? So now you're talking about like, whoa, that like now just be a studio, right, for $400 a month or something, right? But that is like crazy affordable.
Yeah.
So
what the 2-bedroom looking like? What y'all? What the yard looking like? You got a backyard, huh?
Right.
Upstairs and downstairs? Yeah, where I signed that, baby.
Yeah.
$438.
So these units, they're homes for people who have documented disabilities or illnesses, physical developments or physical developmental issues, things like that. HIV/AIDS, people who are at risk of homelessness. So these are like people who like are the most challenged at being able to find places to live, actually getting homes that are affordable.
Right.
Which I love. And not in the middle of bleeping nowhere, right? Like not like a Jericho Circle situation where you're literally like so far flung you can't reach anything.
So the developer has stressed that the housing is for working people who must pass background checks and income eligibility requirements, as authorized by IDA, the Illinois Housing Development Authority. The state group has made available to the developers low-income housing tax credits to fund the bulk of the project. The city of Aurora owns both buildings after the West Aurora School District arranged for the city to take them over. Lincoln was closed as a school in 2009. Todd closed as a school a while back. I don't know why this says a while back. Like, why does the article say
like
a while?
We just kind of forgot.
Like, what kind of journalism?
It was like a while. That is, I am on deadline, and I was able to find this number, and the most important thing for people to know is that it closed at some point.
While back.
A while
back.
You know what?
Who the editor?
I'm gonna let that one slide, right? Like, I am getting the most important details of this article, so that is fine, right?
Well, why would you tell me, if there's two schools, why would you tell me the date of only one of them?
You're right. I would have written around. It's called writing around. When you craft the sentence, be like, I don't have that number. I'm just going to be like, both schools closed in the past couple decades.
It's
right?
Like there's two parties going on tonight. The first one is at Treadwell. The second one, it's somewhere. What is that? Like, why wouldn't you just say there's two parties going on and leave it at that?
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
And you're not invited to either. By the way.
So let me see here, because there was a mention. There it is. Visionary Ventures has said the apartment units will be a mix of studio 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, and as Jenette mentioned, 30 to 60% of area median income. There would only be 10 units at Todd School. Now this is important. The furthest north section of the building is going to include a medical clinic, primary medical service, mental health screenings, and a health education program run by VNA of Aurora for West Aurora students and their families. So, again, Lincoln, 37 units, 10 at Todd. That's the 47 units that have been approved by the city council. I want to say thank you to my city council for all the great work that they do.
Yeah, like this is actually, I'm legit excited about this one coming in for sure. This development makes me happy.
What do you guys think about it out there in comment land? Let's see what the people think. Was that you, Ben Geller? That's not about apartments. Oh, Norma Peterson, what's up? Yes. I read that late. It doesn't update that quickly.
It doesn't always do the things. Oh no, I'm making the note.
The time is 8:23 a.m. Monica.
Thank you, Monica. You would think after a year of this I would know how technology works. I do not.
Monica, if you would be so kind, please take us to a commercial. There are some important local joints in there, one of which is the Neighbor Project's free monthly financial and money management series.
Gotta do that.
The Neighbor Project is hosting a virtual series of money management programs for Black History Month on many dates in February. This series is for anyone looking to set and meet financial goals. There are 3 workshops available. A certificate of completion will be awarded to all who complete the workshops. Their certificate will also get you a cool gift, courtesy of the Neighbor Project. Registration is required for all workshops, and I'll be sharing those Zoom links in our chats. Good morning and happy Friday. Here are your local headlines that I just shared with you all. Real news, real people, real stories, 100% Aurora. Don't forget to please subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all of our content. There you can also watch all of our interviews and receive notifications when we go live. February 5th is the Kids Pop-Up Pantry from 10 a.m. to noon, taking place at Georgetown Elementary School, located at 995 Long Grove Drive. That same day, the Administrative Justice Legal Clinic will be taking place at the food pantry from 9 a.m. to noon. On the 15th of February, there will be a vaccine and booster clinic taking place at the pantry that will take place from 8:30 a.m. to noon. Lastly, the Women's Empowerment Mobile Pantry returns February 1st from 2 to 3 p.m. Shout out to our friends of the Aurora Area Interfaith Food Pantry on all that you do. Tuesday, February 22nd from 6:30 to 8 p.m., Rush Copley Medical Center has a great event scheduled. Enjoy the benefits of better health by overcoming tobacco addiction. Freedom from Smoking, a 7-week program sponsored by the American Lung Association, will prepare you to quit any tobacco product by week 4 and provide support throughout the process. And I'll be sharing the registration link with you all in our chat.
Yes, if you are a smoker, give it up. All of you people out there,
Dear God.
Shout out to our residents who live different places and all kind of stuff. But yeah, just, leave it alone. Just stop it. You will
die. You will die.
You are
if
doing
you keep
irreparable
smoking.
harm to your health
Just to
every
be clear.
single day. All right. So what is next? Let's see what's next.
As someone who has been personally affected by smoking,
let's talk about this warehouse and logistics center that's coming.
Let's do it. Okay. So we're getting a logistics center, despite all of the neighbors not wanting a logistics center nearby. Much like we talked about last week, it's coming in over in the logistics center out on Meridian and Sunrise roads, right? So in that district, this is where we put all of our warehouses, right? So
Meridian Parkway.
In that regard, it makes sense. But as we talked about last week, logistics centers come with some issues, namely a whole bunch of trucks. They're just not for being a place that doesn't actually do a lot for the neighborhood. They come with a lot of negative impacts to a neighborhood, right? Because there's not, you could put much more intensive uses of the property, like in terms of tax revenue generation on a piece of land like that. But these big empty like shell buildings that just welcome like hundreds of trucks a day over the roads, they're I guess they could be better than no development, but they also just have like you get all of the noise and the exhaust and all of these things, and so the neighbors were a little bit upset about this. This was one of those cases where, much like the gas station that we talked about, you'll recall when they were putting in the gas station up there by the tollway off the Farnsworth exit. The neighbors here are unincorporated, or they're in the like next town over or whatever, and so like they can come and they can complain at City Hall, but when it comes down to it, you don't really have much of a say because you're not a voting resident of the town. So in this case, all of the neighbors who are going to be impacted are people who live in Naperville Township and thus not actually incorporated into the city. So
Mark Hogan, good morning. Interesting.
Yeah, so one of the things that we talked about too in terms of logistics centers is that the folks, not so much in this case, but in general across the country, you tend to see these logistics centers because they get pushed further and further out from the city core, right? Like you'll see more logistics centers in places like Aurora than you will in Chicago proper,
right?
Because they, are trying to get away from like the traffic of being in the middle of the urban center. You tend to see these places impacting communities of color more often too, right? Because it's like, well, we find cheap empty land somewhere, and cheap empty land is usually in neighboring communities that are poorer and thus tend to skew to be communities of color.
Right.
So
interesting. All right. So, despite the consternation from the neighbors, it will be there for you whether you like it or not very soon. Let us know how you feel when it happens. We will stay on top of that story. Residents tend to send us cool emails every now and then about some issues. Also, be sure to stay safe. We appreciate you letting us know about things like gunshots in the middle of the night via email or DMs, but be sure to call 911.
Yeah, start with 911.
Yeah. Mind you, we are...
Then you can let us know.
We are here for you.
But we ain't going to come out and catch anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Aurora is looking to expand its fiber optic network in this year. One project would involve extending the network to the site of the eventual new public works building along Liberty Street, just west of County Line Road, etc.
And the other one is going out to the airport.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if expansion of fiber optic is basically always a good thing for a community, right? Because it's this is one of those where the city lays down the major infrastructure, but then what it allows is for other, private entities or, organizations to then kind of tap onto it later. And so the result of that is that you end up having the infrastructure in place. It's kind of like if we build the major highway, then if someone wants to come in and like put something on a property, all they got to do is the driveway, right? And so by us extending our fiber optic network, it's allowing companies that really need that high-speed internet for whatever reason, so your data centers, your anything like that, to then tap on at a lot less cost. So our fiber optic network is kind of one of the we were relatively early adopters for a city of our size to do it, and I think it's one of the best moves that we've made in a pretty long time. So
the city is looking at about $2.7 million with NTI National Technologies in Downers Grove and with Willowbrook-based Adesta LLC, which would be the secondary vendor. City council members on the Infrastructure and Technology Committee recently recommended the contract. Mike Baker, network engineer, said the city also would use the contract to extend the fiber network to 2 city wells and 2 lift stations. Those projects are part of an ongoing 5-year capital improvement move to connect the city's drinking water and sewer systems so they can all be on a secure network. The connection to the airport has been talked about for a long time and was recommended by former police chief Kristen Zeman. It was delayed because of finances and because of concerns related to the fact that extending to the airport means going into neighboring Sugar Grove, and city officials were concerned about security of making sure no one unauthorized taps onto the system.
Yeah, that's where the limits of my technology go. It's like, does anyone in the chat know, can you just like hack on into the, you just like go dig a trench and put your own like internet cable up there and just like wire it in? I wouldn't imagine that would be a particularly easy thing to do, but I don't know. I don't know if that's like you can get cable by just like tossing, like 30 years ago, people just tossed their extra cable on, right? Like up into the wires above head, overhead. I have to imagine that tapping onto the fiber optic network is a little trickier. At the very least, because you got to dig, like it's all buried, right?
The best thing to do is ask or pay somebody for the password.
Right? Yeah.
That's what I've always done.
Right.
I ain't bought internet.
I know.
Since it came out.
I pay like $15 a month because like we split it between everybody in the building.
If you live anywhere 50 feet around me, I'm hitting your door like,
that's right. Like,
that's you, ABC 123?
Let me on.
Oh.
Well, what do you need? What can I do for you?
I'll give you $25 a month, and I'll shovel your driveway, and I'll do that little patch of grass too when I do my grass.
Yeah.
What's that password, brah?
That's right.
So according to, you gotta get to know your neighbors.
That's true.
According to Mike Piggies, Aurora Chief Information Technology Officer, the fiber for municipal purposes only will be extended to the airport. Here's the thing that Here's the thing, though. Eventually, the system could be added to OnLight Aurora, the city's fiber optic network, but it would mean anyone looking to tap onto the system would have to pay for it. That's according to Mike Piggies. Why would I have to pay for it? Should I pay for it?
Yeah.
Should I have to pay for it?
Yeah, well, so this is like the crazy high-speed stuff, right? Like fiber, it's pretty, yeah. So that's how it works, basically.
Maria Chirito.
Again, it's
should we have to pay for it?
Free fiber for everybody.
Should we have to pay for it?
Well, you got to pay for every other utility.
No. Damn all that. I don't think we should have to pay for it. Monica, should we have to pay for it? What do you think? People in the chat, should we have to pay for it?
For the free internets? You gotta go.
I don't feel like I should. I mean, but it's not a me thing. I'm saying as a city thing. Should we have to pay for it? Dan Barrero. I mean, yeah, I understand the financial and the cost of blah blah blah, and the city, but should we have to pay for it? The time is now 8:35 a.m. I don't think we should have to pay for it. I think that the city of Aurora should give us the
free fiber for everybody.
The high-speed joint for free. I do. I think you should have it. You should be able to click onto it if you so choose. I do. I believe that. And the reason, here's why I believe that. I believe that for two main reasons. One, because it was the week before, or Friday before last, where we detailed to you how Aurora is supposed to have high-speed internet in like the 90s. That's step one. Step two is that we just talked about the change in work habits. I think the city should be progressive and revolutionary minded and allow that high-speed internet for free of charge to spur growth and creativity here in the city. They should do that.
So now we're on to a really interesting conversation, right? Which is, so now there would be an immense cost to getting everybody to tap out, like to allow any just resident to tap onto the fiber network. It would be an extremely high cost, but like it would be also this like move to Aurora, free high speed internet for everybody. Like
the return on investment would be.
It
could be astronomical. Hey, I'm not on the finance planning committee of the city or OnLight Aurora.
Yeah,
but shit.
It's kind of, that like if you want to position yourself as being like, we're a city that's like a tech hub, right? And we're not a tech hub. We are not San Francisco, in case you hadn't known. We are not Cupertino. Your phone is not getting designed here. But like if you wanted to make that leap, it would be quite the marketing like campaign like dump to be like, look, everybody in our town has free
I would tell
fiber.
I would be at the press conference like, we gave you high speed internet. What are you complaining about? Like I would, do something.
You download the next season of whatever on Netflix before it's even made. Yeah. That's how fast it is.
You tune it into the city council meetings.
You're watching.
Come on. This is not.
You're watching the next week's episode of Righteous Gemstones. That's how fast your internet is.
That's what I would do.
Which, by the way, is my new.
That's just me.
My new Netflix obsession.
All right, the time is 8:38. Okay, real quick, Monica, please take me to a commercial. I gotta tell something to our listeners. Where is it? Aha! Behold, this is very important. Kane County System of Care. So your client is court involved. Now what? Helping clients navigate the criminal justice system is a webinar that's going to be held on February 4th from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Registration is free for this event. Now, we made a post about this. The link is in the post. It's way too long to type, so we're not going to do that. It's a 1-hour virtual presentation for mental health professionals, and you can receive 1 CEU for social workers and therapists. The speaker will be Lisa Oust, Executive Director at Kane County Court Services. Also, drive-through petition collection for Senator Holmes will be what's today's date?
The 28th.
All right, so it's going to be Sunday. 9 a.m. to noon.
Sunday.
Yep, at Kane County Democrats Office, 473 Dunham Road, Unit 102 in St. Charles, Illinois, 60174. And last but certainly not least, Monday, February 7th from 5 to 6 p.m. via Zoom will be the Know Your Rights virtual workshop. Join State Representative Barbara Hernandez and Cabrini Green Legal Aid for a virtual Know Your Rights workshop. The workshop will cover the definition of a criminal record, the difference between sealing and expungement, the eligibility to seal and expunge a record, and much more. Registration is required for that as well. We'll make a post, put the link there for you so that you can join. The time is now 6:40 a.m. Okay. Now, the next thing, damn, country. We country today. The next thing. Frog in the corner and he go riding.
That's
the next
right.
thing. They're like, damn, we listening to Soul Train today. Okay.
Can we dance at the end? That would be kind of fun.
So there is what's the update on the gubernatorial race? Hold on. Stop. What was that?
Someone's hammering.
Somebody's yeah.
If you guys hear that, that's not us doing that.
We are not hammering.
Yeah, people
currently.
are doing construction and all that. What's on the gubernatorial race?
The gubernatorial race is basically the update on the gubernatorial race is that there is no update on the gubernatorial race because our candidate, our man, isn't talking to anybody about the gubernatorial race. So the whole. You'll all recall a couple weeks ago for Martin Luther King Day, the mayor announced that he is making his run for governor. Since then, there have been some ads going out. Mayor Urban's first major commercial television spot has been attacking the governor, our current governor, Pritzker, on crime, right, which is a huge, hot button topic across the state right now, particularly, Chicago's bad reputation for crime, even though overall crime is actually relatively low throughout the state and throughout the country. If you're looking at on a historical basis, but he launched a commercial basically saying that parts of Illinois are a war zone, and this is all the governor's fault and all of this, and then it uses some of the clips of the riots that happened here in downtown Aurora and how the mayor put a stop to them. What's interesting, or what some of the Chicago news outlets are starting to point out, is this guy's putting out some commercials, but every time we try to ask him a question, we're not getting any responses. So
watch the commercial, bruh.
I guess it's
you got eyes?
my commercial has spoken for itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be an interesting race going forward.
So here's this part in the article that I think is really. This is just not. I just think this is. Well, I'll say my own words. Another person who's running is venture capitalist Jesse Sullivan. He hammered the Law and Order theme on his first ad. Quote: Pritzker's leftist agenda is literally killing us, turning parts of Illinois into a war zone. Leftist agenda.
Yeah.
Leftist agenda. I mean,
I've made a number of
I'm
calls.
a person who believes that intelligence and character can definitely be ascertained. The word of the day is ascertained.
Ooh,
Monica, thank you very much.
Good one.
I believe that intelligence and character can be ascertained in a person's words and what they say, and
Their rhetoric.
leftist agenda. I mean,
Again,
was there no other venture capitalists that would assume that this person has at least some kind of money and intelligence? Was there no other way to describe that?
Well, let's not conflate money and intelligence.
Well, let's not do that. But was there no other words for venture capitalists to use than leftist agenda?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what this whole thing
agenda
is really speaking to is that the rhetoric is just going to keep amping up, and it's going to ramp up really, really, really fast.
The sad part about it to me, here's what's sad. Here's because, I don't care who wins. Well, I care who wins, but I have no dog in the fight. Shout out.
We have not established alliances yet.
Good luck. But here's what bothers me about it. Pritzker's leftist agenda is literally killing us, turning parts of Illinois into a war zone. Right now, somebody will hear or read that and think that sounds smart.
Yeah.
They'll hear that and they'll be like, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds intelligent. I'm voting for that. And I think that's the sad tragedy. I mean, there's people who they will vote for the low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
You could piss and tell them it's apple juice. They'll drink it. And I just think that's just so... The time is now 8:45 a.m.
Which, really, truly, if there is only one issue that we should all be, railing behind at this moment in America, it might be public education, the quality of our public education, right? So that people are learning how to,
leftist agenda.
I just really want people to, be able to sit and think and, approach problems in our society from lots of different perspectives and with a more nuanced, something more nuanced than sound bites.
It says that, and that's the thing. See, that's why Good Morning Aurora said leftist agenda is killing us, but he didn't tell us how. How is it killing us?
Yeah.
I don't get it. How is the agenda killing us?
I also thought that one of
Hold on, be quiet. Hold on.
Man, they're doing something up in this building right now.
We're underneath the parking garage, so somebody's car is probably getting their catalytic converter
ripped out right now.
Hey.
This studio is really pretty soundproof for the most part too, because I can tell you if you are in other parts of the first floor of this building, you can hear the cars kind of the thunk overhead, and you cannot hear them the thunk overhead in this studio, but we can. I think someone is boring into concrete
for
right
all of
now.
our listeners, we apologize if you can hear that drilling and everything going on.
It's all good.
Ben Geller, what's up, baby? Ben Tennant, increasing credit rating equals leftism. I know,
I think
right?
it's ironic, right? He's being
Zachary, go
funny.
forth. Good morning, sir. Here's what Zachary. Thank you for this, Zachary. And let me read what Zachary said.
Oh, boy.
Chattanooga, Tennessee has fiber internet owned by local government, so you still pay, but extremely cheap. Now, I wanted to say thank you very much for that because, okay, sure, 100% free where you don't pay anything, perhaps that's a stretch too far.
Yeah.
But Comcast had a couple of things during the early part of the pandemic where people were paying $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
That's very good. And I like something like that. Thank you very much.
Truthfully, when it comes down to it, once you lay the...
How much for my password, Curtis? Ben, I told you I'm using somebody else's joint. Come on, man. I told you it's not mine.
Yeah, once you lay the infrastructure of internet, right, there is some maintenance to it, but it's not... and there are costs associated with all that data moving, right? But it's not... companies like Comcast are making an awful lot of money off of their services, which is kind of, if they're able to sell it for $10 a month, that they're able to sell it for a lot, for a short period, that they're able to sell it for a lot less than the $70-$80 a month that most of us are paying. So.
Thank you very much, Zachary. Thank you for putting that link in there
Link
from
in the
tech.co. Awesome.
All right, very
Why
good.
Chattanooga has the fastest internet in the U.S. Local politicians and residents should be trying to make their town or city the next Chattanooga, the fourth largest city in Tennessee. Tennessee, correct? Because the article kind of...
Tennessee.
Yeah, awesome.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Thank you very much for that, Zachary. Appreciate that. Michelle Davalis is
Shout
here.
out.
Good morning to you, Michelle. Shout out. Good to see you. All right. So.
Yeah, the one thing, going back to the gubernatorial race that I thought was also just a little bit really? Is this really where we're letting our rhetoric go? Is, both the Republicans in the race so far, Irvin and the Sullivan fella have opened up with crime, right? Trying to attack Pritzker on crime. And all of the images from the riots that happened here in downtown Aurora, right, are, you know, Urban has come out and said, like, there was a riot and I stopped it. There was a riot and I stopped it. And Pritzker's office is kind of like, yeah, I guess who actually authorized the National Guard to come in, though, right? Like, it's
that's splitting hairs, and that's petty.
It's getting, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this whole thing is starting to get really, as a mayor, you work with the governor, right, and vice versa, because your residents are always residents of both a city and a state. So, like, let's not get.
That reminds me of, like, we were putting on.
Let's have an honest race. Let's have, like, an honest race where you tell me what you're actually going to do for me if you are put in charge of the state. That's all I want to see.
Just don't be petty. You know what I've noticed, though? I've noticed that, like, some people aren't even putting out attack ads. They just keep doing what they doing, and that's what I like.
Thank you.
Just tell me about what you doing. You know,
yeah.
like I got 4 eyes. I can see who's doing whatever and who's not.
Right.
But anyway, my time is 8:50. Okay, Monica, take me to a commercial real quick. One more quick joint, and then we'll get back to this with our last 9 minutes. Okay. Where did it go? Aha! Here it is. Behold. Tuesday, June 28th is the Illinois General Primary Election Day. March 30th is the first day to apply for a vote by mail ballot. May 19th is the first day to vote.
Sipping it up.
All y'all sip it up. Zachary.
And your cold brew. Sip it up.
Michelle.
I was drinking cold brew this morning.
All right, let me try that again. May 19th is the first day to vote early at the Office of the Election Authority. It's also the first day for the Election Authority to mail an official ballot to a registered voter within the United States. June 1st through the 28th, grace period, registration and voting at Election Authority and polling sites. June 12th, last day for online voter registration. Grace period registration is available at Election Authority and early voting sites. June 13th, first day to vote early at permanent polling places. Vote early at the Office of the Election Authority starting May 19th. That's in parentheses. June 23rd, last day for Election Authority to receive vote by mail applications. And June 28th is General Primary Election Day. Polls open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. This is given to us by the League of Women Voters of Illinois. Nonpartisan voter information, powered and activated by you. Damn. That's the best slogan besides the second largest city's first daily news podcast. That is some powered and activated by you.
That's
Make you
right.
feel like you got a button on your nose. All right.
Boop.
So
we're not on the camera. We just there's some booping going on back here.
So next things next, ladies and gentlemen.
Next? What do we got?
Things next.
What do we got?
There's a consultant recommending a new fire station to be built on the far northeast side of Aurora. I told you guys about that yesterday and Tuesday. The consultant is Plug Ugly Solutions. One of the worst names ever to name your business.
I think, okay, so we're all going to agree that fire stations are great and people should live close to fire stations, and that the real story in this story is that someone thought it was a great idea to name their business Plug Ugly Solutions. Because I know that, like, when you're starting a business or whatever, a lot of times they're like, what you name it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Like, there's so many like weird business names out there that don't actually correlate to the thing that you do. Like, why is there a internet browser called DuckDuckGo? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? But man, you gotta make it not sound so weird.
Ben Geller. Chuck Nelson for mayor. Shouts out. That was awesome, Ben. Thank you very much.
Yeah, all right. I could get behind that.
All right. Let me see here. Now, Ben also says, don't get me started. If money is involved, we pay for it somehow, somewhere. It's the American way done local. Thank you very much for that as well, Ben. Okay. The last piece that we got here, besides, actually, I'm going to tell you guys about the compensation news Monday. Actually, I'm going to make a star of that right now. This is the first time you guys are watching this. First time you guys are watching me.
It's like a preview.
Give you some joint Monday.
It's like a preview of what's to come. We're going to talk compensation Monday.
All right.
Y'all are gonna talk compensation.
And a final call. Oh, wait, we talked about this already. The grim death toll.
We did. One thing that I did want to highlight, too, was about the COVID death toll in the county, the memorial service. There was a column this week from Denise Crosby out about it. And what I appreciated about it a lot was, her like, okay, there's been an awful lot of fighting back and forth about everything related to COVID, right? And so we recently had the passing of two Aurora Police Department officers, right? And they covered, the newspaper covered those stories, and there's been a lot of they've gotten an awful lot of feedback over, why didn't you tell us if they were vaccinated? Why didn't you tell us, or at one point they mention something about vaccination status, and the reaction then was like, why are you making this about vaccines when it's about this person who has died, right? Like, so it's like on either side, right? Either you're making it about vaccines, you're not making it about vaccines, and you should, right? And it's all of this like back and forth fighting. And the way that Crosby ended the column this week was kind of set that aside and said, I believe that when it comes to the virus's impact over the last couple of years, we can't ignore another important thing that's taken a big hit, our humanity. And I just really liked that line, because I think that it's one of the things that we've been talking about, or that I've really been trying to talk about for the past year, is be nice. Like, we've lost the ability to be nice. And I don't know if it's, we've all been isolated for a really long time, and humans don't do well in isolation. We've all been under an immense amount of stress. There's been a lot of talk in the news lately over whether or not we've gone through trauma, right? Like, because this pandemic has been, it's not the same as if someone pulls a knife on you, right? Like that kind of like acute trauma, but it is this like constant stress and pressure, and it's causing post-traumatic responses from people, or current traumatic responses from people, right? And so what I thought was just really nice about that article, and what I thought, and what I keep coming back to again and again and again, is like, everyone feels awful right now sometimes, right? Everyone has had a moment where they felt like they might snap, where they might be the person who's going to lose it at Target and start knocking over mask things, right? Because it's weighing heavily on all of us. So just take a deep breath. Don't take your frustrations out on the poor host at the restaurant who's telling you about the vax requirement, right? Just be nice. It's the only way we get through all of this.
The time is now 8:57 a.m. So I want to say before we go that yesterday was another great vaccine, two great vaccine and flu shot resource clinics happened yesterday. They were very helpful for the community. We appreciate all of our local leaders and state officials who help bring about something like that, and all the great organizations like VNA Healthcare and Neighbor Project. Stay tuned for that, because we really are glad to see that public health and wellness for people, in addition to resources for housing, are made available for anyone, free of charge, at any time. So you will see more of that, and Good Morning Aurora is always proud to highlight that. This is the last episode of Jenettesplaining for the moment, and we have Music Fridays returning on Fridays. Michelle Davalos, thank you very much.
Do we have breaking news?
Good look.
We have all the things.
Nice.
I meant to click that one.
Oh, okay.
And then I was panicking, and so I clicked all of them. And
Why not?
I like it. It feels like a really good send-off to like have all of the emotions at once. So,
yep.
I like last Jenettesplaining. I've got a couple of exciting projects in the hopper. It's not going to be the last y'all hear from me. I've got some live lit things coming up on the calendar soon that I'm excited about. I've got kind of a sort of some entrepreneurial forays into real estate. So like you'll I'm not leaving. I'm just not here every Friday. I know it'll be sad. So follow me on that Insta if you want to know what's going on.
Insta.
Thank you.
Everybody needs the gram.
I would like to say thank you to my co-host for forcing me to do the Insta more
no doubt.
often. Yes.
No doubt. All right.
One thing you all need to know is that Curtis has the strongest handshake in all of Aurora.
Well, I want you to feel me.
Of anyone whose hand I have ever shaken in this town, all 200,000 residents, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you very much. We have to be felt. I hope that you guys all have so as Jenette told us, let's make sure to be cool and lead with a positive disposition and a cool head. But I hope that you guys all have a good weekend this weekend, particularly because we're going into a whole brand new month, and this is our first month here out of the way in a brand new year. So let's be sure to not be complacent, surely, but also let's not get bogged down with the rigors of everyday life. For many of you and many of us and many people and listeners out there, we had been waiting for this new beginning and this new everything and this new year, and I can't wait because I'm going to do this. Well, let's make sure that we keep that same energy and remain the same positive people that we wanted to be in 2022, right, that we were saying we were going to be in 2021. Other than that, Monica, you got anything for the road?
Maybe not for the world, but maybe for Jenette. It was very nice meeting you and being part of this awesome team with you. So I learned a lot from you.
Word up.
That makes me so happy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is 9 a.m. Take care of yourself and each other.
Adios, Aurora.